Josh in Alamiso.
Hi guys. It's actually Alamosa.
Alamosa.
Colorado.
They spelled it wrong on here. Oh, now they corrected it. They tried to correct it without me looking at it. Without you guys are sneaky. Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Pretty well. First off, I want to say I've been watching the show for about a year, mostly on YouTube, and think you guys are doing a lot of good work. And so I have to kind of throw out my kudos right away.
Thanks very much.
Care of. But what I was wanting to talk about was I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but last week in Argentina, the country passed same-sex marriage rights to its citizens, and so I was listening to a couple of radio shows, and thought, hey, that's a really cool thing, and hopefully we as in the United States will start doing something like that. But the interesting thing and how this ties into atheism, I suppose, was there's a very large Catholic population in Argentina, and yet even that, like, notwithstanding, the people still decided to allow this marriage to go through, mostly because it was like a human rights issue, and that country has had a lot of history of past injustices and whatnot, and I just kind of thought that would it's kind of interesting looking at this prosecution or persecution rather, and how the Argentinians are able to recognize that. Yet a lot of Christians in this country, they seem to hang their hat on the fact that throughout history they've been persecuted by the Romans and by us, militant atheists today. But yet they can't seem to understand that flip side to it, how the prosecuted are becoming the prosecutors. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But okay. So yeah, that's it. Keep up the good work and have a good one.
All right. I think the reason that they have difficulty seeing it is because no living Christian that you're talking about has actually probably been persecuted for their beliefs. A handful here and there. Maybe some missionary goes into a foreign country and gets it. But the people that you're talking about, the people who are sitting at home in their self-righteousness after getting home from church and deciding that it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve type. Those people have no idea what persecution is. They have no idea what it's like to be on the losing end of a rights issue. They have no idea what it's like to be deprived of something that everybody else benefits from simply because of who you are.
And I would add, they have no idea what rights are in the first place. They think rights are whatever their big invisible friend told us were our rights. Right? They're not looking at it from the perspective of, here we are, a whole bunch of people who feel differently and think differently, and we have to live together, right? What laws are we going to establish to make it fair for everyone? And they don't even start there. That's why there's a problem.
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to highlight was how. And just like Matt was pointing out, no real Christian, I mean, outside of some genocidal war in Africa or what have you, has really gone through persecutions like that. But yet, that seems to be a motif that they really like to grasp onto, especially when
it
they perceive some threat from evolutionary biologists, or they can't congregate in a public school building after school hours, to have a meeting, and so they're very quick to sort of trump up and play up these slight inconveniences,
because it works. It works. You can play the victim, and you can lie through your teeth while doing it. Oh, you guys are persecuting us. You took prayer out of school. No, nobody took prayer out of school. What they took was mandatory government-led prayer to school. Your kid can still pray in school. Your kid can still take a Bible to school. Your kids can still join the Youth for Christ movement. Your kid can still do whatever they want in school, as long as they're not doing it when they're supposed to be studying, and as long as they're not proselytizing to others on behalf of the school, as long as they're not going over the speaker and doing morning prayers. That's what was removed. And they'll lie and cry foul all day long, because it works.
And
it's easy to play the victim.
And yet, can turn on a dime and, condemn thousands of people for their sexual orientation and
right, because that stuff's wrong,
and not seem to think. And not seem to think twice about it.
And I'm sure the persecution card is also very effective when you're doing the business of religion, which is fundraising.
Yeah.
As soon as this, if it's just some social issue that's happening over there, that's abstract and at a distance, it's a lot harder to get people to open up their wallets than when you tell them, oh, and you personally, as one of us Christians, your rights are being trounced, and that's why we need your money. It's not to stop them, but to defend you.
The other reason that
that's a lot more appealing.
The other reason that they don't think twice about this at all is because they have this idea that what they're talking about is just wrong. It's just obviously wrong. Why would they think twice about it? To them, homosexuality is a sin, no different from being a pedophile, being a rapist, being a murderer. And some of them are honest enough to actually say that. Not all of them. The rest of them will say, well, okay, it's maybe not as bad, or but it's worse than lying, but not as bad. Who cares about any of that? This is something that's wrong, and that's why they don't think twice. It's not a rights issue for them. If you were to ask them, they would say, no, you don't have a right to do that. We're not violating your rights. We are, attempting to impose God's law, which will make the whole world better, despite the fact that we already know that it doesn't. Whether or not it's God's law or not, it doesn't make the world better. If there's anything to learn about this God character, is whether or not he exists, he's been a miserable failure.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But I just thought that was interesting, and kind of wanted to see your guys' take on it. And plus the idea, I guess, Christians crying foul, or I guess any religious group for that matter, is the martyr is a real accessible idea, and there are so many saints that have been martyred for their beliefs, and I think that's something that they can establish and call upon to persuade or bend people to do whatever. But
well, thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate the call.
Thank you. Have a good one.
As a reminder, after the show's over, we get together and go to dinner at Treadgill's at 301 West Riverside Drive. Any atheist or atheist-friendly person is welcome to join us. We'll be going on to other calls here in just a second. The example that I've used on that subject before is that if somebody's beating somebody else over the head with a stick and you come and take their stick away, you're not violating their rights. And that is very much what we're talking about.
Right. It doesn't matter if that guy with a stick believes that his invisible friend told him it was okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That I guess would be my encapsulation of the separation of church and state, is that your rights do not come from what you personally believe some supernatural thing gave you. Your rights come from the passing of laws within our government.